Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Middleware Technologies. Today we'll be looking at how we can use mod_deflate module to compress static content in Apache HTTP server. So here in this article, we will try to set up a Apache HTTP server with mod_deflate module enabled, and we will see like how this module helps in compressing the data that is sent from the server to the client. So this is what like we will be looking at in this demo. So let us try to understand like currently like I have the following test environment wherein I have a Fedora server on top of which I have Apache HTTP server with the following version installed. So before getting into the details, let us try to understand what is mod_deflate. So this module is basically used widely to compress the static content that is sent by the server, that is Apache HTTP server, to the client. So it basically applies the compression algorithm on static files such as HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. So these are the basic formats of the files for static content which are served by a web server widely in the internet. So this module basically helps in reducing the network bandwidth usage and improving the performance of the site. So this is very important factor uh, which is done by this module, that is mod_deflate, by basically by compressing the static content before it is sent to the client. It improves the performance of the site, and at the same time it improves the network bandwidth usage. So these are the very important factors that are affecting a website performance. If you want to get into more details of the mod_deflate module, you can just go to the documentation page for the mod_deflate, wherein you will get to know about the different directives that we can use, like the compression level that we can apply to the files, and some other directives which can be applied as a part of this module. Though mod_deflate helps in compression, it comes at a cost of increased CPU and memory usage on the server. So this is one factor that you need to take into consideration, given that the compression algorithm that is applied on the server, it needs some CPU or memory resources, but that is in today's world it is very nominal, as we have so many cloud environments providing different types of servers with different resources. So this is something which is nominal and can be taken into consideration. This module provides us with directives to adjust the compression level, which should be fine-tuned as per your requirement. So this is, as I said, like you can just go to the documentation page and refer to the directives which can be applied as a part of this module. So as I said, like there are different modules that you can use as a part of this module, which you can take a look at in this page. So now that we have understood about the mod_deflate module, let us try to get into the procedure of implementing it in this demo. So as a first step, we need to ensure that the Apache HTTP server is installed and running. So let me go into my remote server. So this is my remote server on top of which Apache HTTP server is installed. So let us try to see, like this is the command that you can run, rpm-qa grep httpd, which will show you the version that is currently installed on your machine. If you do not have this package installed, you can just go and install it using DNF utility. Once that is done, the HTTPD service should be up and running by default. You can check the status of it using the systemctl status and HTTPD service. So now that we are confirmed that the Apache HTTPD service is installed and running, let us go to our next step, that is step 2. Ensure mod_deflate module is loaded. So the default HTTP package that we install on the Fedora server, like in my case it is a Fedora server, we have the mod_deflate module loaded by default. Okay, so how we can check if a module is loaded or not? There are two ways that we can do it. One is using httpd -m, and you can just grep for deflate, and you will get to know like whether that dynamic module is loaded or not. That is one thing. And the other thing is, like, you can check the configuration, that is, so here if you see etc httpd is the base location of the httpd server, and in that it has a folder like config.modules.d, wherein all the configuration for different modules are present, and in that the 00 base.conf file loads the mod_deflate module by default. There are other modules also that are loaded as a part of this configuration, but mod_deflate is the one that is by default loaded. So that is the second thing that we can check to ensure that the mod_deflate module is loaded by default in the Apache HTTP server. So once we are satisfied with our step 2, let us go to our next step, that is step 3. Create and update the configuration file. So in order to use the mod_deflate module to compress our data, first we need to create a configuration file which will identify like what type of files we want that compression to be applied. So for that, like what we are going to do is we are going to create this file in so let me clear my screen, and here like I'll show you the file that I have already created. So as you can see, like I have created a file in config.d location with the name deflate.conf file. So this file basically, let me just clear my screen and remove that additional cat. So now you can see this file basically tries to match all the files with .js, .html or .css extension, and it is going to apply this filter, set output filter. The name of that filter is going to be deflate. So this filter is basically going to apply the compression algorithm on the files before they are sent to the client. So this is what this basic configuration is going to do for us. Now that we have created our file and we have understood basically what that file is doing and what type of compression it is going to apply onto our server, let us try to upload some content. So for that, let us go to our next step, that is step 4, uploading a static content. So here for this demo, like what we are going to do is we are going to use a very basic jQuery library file, that is a JavaScript file that is widely used in HTML or CSS, like static content development. So let us try to download that file, which we will use as a file that is going to be served to the client. So what we are going to do is we are going to download that file and save it at the following location. So let me share the command. So here what we are going to do is we are doing wget onto this file, and we are saving that output using -o to the following location, that is var www.html with the following name. Okay, so that is what exactly we are doing. We are just downloading that file and we are saving that file into the document root of the Apache HTTP server, which is the default location for the default configuration that is installed. So now let us download that file. So the file has been downloaded and you can verify it using ls-ltr on that location. And you just need to ensure the file size that is currently 284 MB. So that is the size of the default file. Now let me go to my documentation again. So once like we have the file, the static file ready, and we have updated the configuration, let us now restart our HTTP service. So for that we will use systemctl restart HTTP service. So let me restart my service. So the service is restarted. So once the service is restarted, the final step, that is step 6, is validating the compression results. So here, as I said, like we are trying to use the mod_deflate module to compress the static content. So let us see like how we can verify that in this demo. So first step, as a first step, we will try to try using wget without any option. So we will use wget from a remote machine and download that the jQuery JavaScript file that we have downloaded onto the Apache HTTP server. So let me copy this command, and now let me go to my workstation and let me go to var10, wherein we will try to download this file. So here, like if you see, like I will try to use wget without any option to download the jQuery library. So if you see the file size now, the file size is same as what is present on the server. So even though we have the mod_deflate module enabled and it is loaded as a part of Apache HTTP service, it is still not getting applied to the JavaScript file that the client has requested. So let us try to understand why it is not compressing that file. First thing is, like when we used the wget command over here, like we are not telling the server that the client, that is wget, is able to accept the compressed content. So that is why the server is not sending a compressed file to the client, assuming that the client is not going to support that file and it is not going to decompress that file and read the content. So that is the main reason why the file is not undergoing any compression before it is getting sent to the client. So wget is not telling that it is able to read the compression file. So that is why the server is not sending the file in a compressed format. But now let me delete this file. Now let me delete this file, and now what we will do is we will use the same command but add an header to mention that the wget client supports gzip compression files and try to retrieve the jQuery library. So now we will use this command, basically telling the server wherein this JavaScript file is present that we accept gzip encoding files. So this is the header that you need to add to mention to the server that the client, that is wget, accepts gzip compression files. So we are saving that output into the following.gz file, because the file now that is going to be sent as a part of this request is going to be a compressed gzip file. So let us try to request it, and let me now clear my screen and look at that jQuery file that has been downloaded. So you can see now the file size is 84 MB, that has been reduced by very good content, and this is the file size that is actually sent on the network when a client requests for this file. But now we still have a problem. Like we haven't received that file still in the plain text, because if you look at the file type for this, like you will see that it is a gzip compressed file, and this file you cannot read it by default using the cat. So you can see the binary, it is a binary file which we will not be able to read it until unless we are going to decompress it. So now what we are going to do is we are going to decompress that .gz file using gunzip. So we are using gunzip to decompress that compressed file. Now if you see the jQuery file, it has been decompressed and it is now showing the actual size what is present on the server. So now you can read this file like it was present on the server. So that is the thing about the compression. But as we are using wget, we need to do this decompression manually. But let's say if you are trying to access this file, so let us try to access this file using the browser, and let me just open my developer tools just to understand like what are the modules that are what are the request and response headers that are being sent. So now if you do this request, you can see the file has been decompressed automatically and it is served to the client in a plain text format. So that is a very important thing that the client the browser does. It receives the JavaScript file in a compressed format and it is able to decompress it automatically. So how that is happening is, let us try to understand it using this headers. So if you see the request headers, so let me minimize the response headers. So if you see the request headers, when a request is sent for this jQuery library, it mentions the accept encoding as zzip or deflate. So it mentions that the browser is able to accept either the zzip or the deflate compressed files. So that is one thing that we are telling the server, that we are accepting this type of compression files. So that is why the server is able to send us a compressed file. So now if you look at the response headers, you will see that the content encoding that has been sent by the server is zzip and the content type of that file is JavaScript. So we are telling the browser that the content is a JavaScript file, but it is compressed in zzip format. So browser understands this and it tries to decompress that zzip file and see if it is able to render that JavaScript file, and that is what like we are able to see it right now. So that is what gets happened when a client is requesting for a static content from a web server, and a web server which supports this type of compression, it sends the compressed data of that files to the client instead of sending the actual size data. So this greatly improves the performance of the website, and at the same time it also uses very less network bandwidth. So that these are the two factors that make an impact in the website performance. So this is what I wanted to show you in this video. So we have already looked at all the steps that we have seen, like how we can unzip the file, and we have also seen like how we can request the file using the browser, and we have seen like what are the different headers that it sends. So this is what I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you all. Thanks for watching this video, and you guys have a great day.